A few of us priests used to call out to bring Father Colm O'Brien communion in the last months when he was staying with his Aunt Lily. You could see that physically he was fading, but I was struck by how well he lived those months. He knew he was dying. He made all the funeral arrangements with his good diocesan priest friends, telling them he wanted joyful hymns. He was up front saying he would have liked to live longer, but he was convinced God had another plan, a bigger plan.
Father Colm O'Brien was born in Waterford on January the 20th, 1973, and grew up in the love and care of Tom and Josie, his parents, and his sister Lisa.
From a very early age, Colum, like when the first communions and confirmation, when you go to visit houses, you know, when you ask children, what are you going to be when they grow up? Colum always said, "You're going to be a priest." And he never changed, you know. And here we are today now, like 27 years later, Colum has been ordained and we're all so proud of him.
Before entering the seminary, however, he experienced the sad loss of his much-loved mother.
You're surrounded here today by family and friends, but of course your mother passed away 7 years ago. I suppose she would have been really proud to have been here today.
It would indeed, that's right, you know, and it would have been nice to have her here today, but that's just the way things work out, you know. Actually, I was due to start in the seminary, 7 years ago when she got sick, but when we discovered that she was so ill and terminally ill, I decided I'd wait another year, which I'm glad I did, and but I know that she's present here with us in spirit today.
Colum was appointed to Clonmel Parish, where his kindness and good humour, courteous manner, hard work and smile won the hearts of the people of that town, where he was to remain for 8 years. What motivated Colum? What kept him going in his enthusiasm?
Cara Lubick was a young woman in her early 20s, living in Trent, northern Italy, when World War II broke out. As the bombs rained down on her beloved city, all her dreams and her hopes for the future seemed to be fading away. Yet in the midst of chaos and destruction, Cara and her friends discovered something that would change their lives forever. Every day when the bombing began, Cara and her friends would go to the air raid shelters. There they began to open the scriptures, searching for some meaning to what was happening around them. Certain passages began to speak very clearly to them, like love your neighbour as yourself, and Jesus' prayer before his passion, Father, may they all be one. They tried to live out these passages in a concrete way by reaching out to those who were suffering around them. It wasn't long before they were joined by others who wanted to live this way of life. In the midst of destruction and chaos, Cara and her companions discovered an ideal that no bomb could destroy. That ideal was God and living the gospel. In the midst of death, Cara Lubick and her companions chose life. Today, Cara Lubick is leader and president of a worldwide movement known as the Focolari. The members of this movement strive each day to live the gospel values of unity and love in a real and concrete way.
We can find out something of this from letters and comments he made to friends.
When I entered the seminary, 4 lads used to meet together every month to share on the gospel, and they invited me along. I loved the idea of taking a verse of scripture and seeing how we might put it into practice. I was struck by the great ideal of unity. The lads tried to live out this ideal every day, not that it was always easy, but the effort made by all of us and the daily choice made by everyone to build up unity in the seminary encouraged me greatly.
In 1998, Colum attended an international congress organised by the Focolare Movement at the Mariapolis Centre in Castel Gandolfo. He was very struck by this gathering with seminarians from all around the world who had made their own a communitarian spirituality, deciding to go to God not on their own but together. For Colum it was like a deeper discovery of a new family, that of brothers living for unity, building up the family of God by way of a communitarian spirituality. He saw this as his way to be a priest. Pope John Paul II's words, addressed to the seminarians at that Congress, confirmed this.
So it's a good thing that you're here in Castle Gandolfo, that you've come to this courtyard, because the word Focolari says something very simple and very profound. It says that there exists a togetherness. So the priestly vocation is not a lonely and a solitary vocation. It's a vocation to live together, to live outside the family, without a family because of celibacy, but to live for others within the extended family. And I think that the Focolari spirituality prepares you very well for this vocation, which is yours.
Returning home, Colum saw all events, big and small, as opportunities to live out this communitarian spirituality. In a letter to a priest friend, he wrote,
"Recently I have felt this unity and lived it during the preparation for the diaconate ordinations. Those of us in the Word of Life group redoubled our efforts together. The grass was to be cut, the grounds tidied, those working in the kitchen to be helped, the church to be prepared. The effort put into this was a real experience of unity and working together, especially with those in the Word of Life group. In this way, a special bond of unity was experienced. It is our wish always to build up this unity every day in our seminary and in the other places that we go to. And so, in our own little way, we can respond to the Lord's command, one, so that all may be one."
But unity without the cross is only a utopia. The key point to the spirituality of communion proposed by Chiara Lubick, the founders of the Focolare Movement, a point that struck Colum deeply, was Jesus forsaken on the cross who cries out, my God, why have you forsaken me?"
I found it difficult to understand fully. I was familiar, of course, with Jesus as crucified, but I wondered how could he be forsaken or abandoned and what it meant. Soon I began to see that it was in his total abandonment that Jesus in fact united the whole world to God and united all people as brothers and sisters.
The mystery of Jesus forsaken is very important in order to live unity, because the cross of Jesus, which contains that cry too, unites us with God and with one another. In living his passion with the cry of abandonment, Jesus said, despite the enormous separation that he felt from the Father, "Into your hands I commend my spirit." So Jesus forsaken is indeed our teacher of how to overcome every disunity, no matter how serious it is. Each time we are faced with a suffering like his, we must do likewise. We must not stand still or remain traumatized or let ourselves be blocked. We must go beyond it. How do we go beyond it? With love. Look, it's a question of giving our lives for the whole world, to see life as having an immense program. All those sufferings you see in the world are yours, because you're a Christian, you're a follower of Christ.
For me,